Hello everyone, it's Marcy, and I told you in my last video that I was going to be pulling my Christmas stuff out, and I've got my big tub pulled out, and the first thing I need to do is I need to make a couple of tags for a tag swap that I'm participating in. So, for this tag swap, I have to use either paint or spray, any napkin piece, any stamped or magazine image, any sentiment, and any fabric scrap. So I think what I'm going to do, this napkin, it's actually a tissue size napkin, but it has the partridge in the pear tree, and it has the sentiment of "and a partridge in a pear tree," and I've got it twice. So I think this will be the napkin that I use, and that will also give me the sentiment. Now, these aren't super Christmassy color. Well, it's very Christmassy, but it's actually got some fall with the pears and stuff. It's got some fall-ish kinds of colors. So what I'm going to do for my base, I've got some file folder scraps here. And I'm going to use my jelly plate. Now, please do not use me as your instructor for the jelly plate. I basically just kind of play around on mine and am not proficient at all. So basically, I'm just bringing you along to craft with me, for better or worse, on this project. So I've got several deco art. This one, deco art paints. This one's Canyon Orange. And I've got some burnt orange. I actually used too much of the bright orange there. And I've got some antique gold here. This is not metallic. It's just the color. And then I've got a little bit of light buttermilk, which is very light, but it has a yellow hue to it, so it's not white. All right, I've probably got way too much paint on there, but that's all right. And basically, I am just going to smush my paint colors together. And over here to the side, I don't know that you can see it, but I've got a sheet to roll my brayer off on. All right, let's do this one first. So I'm just going to slap this down, and this will just give me my background colors. And just to keep my hands from becoming quite as messy, I'm just going to take this sheet of paper and smush everything around. And of course, I'll pick some up on this paper, which is fine. I can just save it just like I do my roll-off sheet and use the little strips for something, because it'll be completely white in the center where the file folder is, but pick up color on the edges. Okay. that one. I'll just set it off to the side. All right. Oh, how in the world did I get a hair on there? All right. So that's going to be my basic background for that one. And I'm going to do one more. Let's see. I'm going to add a little more paint. And of course this one will be a little different because it has what's left on there plus whatever new I'm putting down. And this piece of paper is not quite as large, so, well, it's not nearly as large, so it doesn't need as much. And we'll put just a drop or two of the brighter orange, or 3 or 4. All right. Whoops. Okay. So let's put that one down. I'm going to use the same sheet of paper that I was using before. And just squish it all down. I have no idea how this is going to look, but for some reason I thought, you know, even though it's a Christmas napkin about the partridge in a pear tree, but it's got the fall colors, and I'll be sending this out this month, so I kind of like that idea. It's not gonna, I don't have yet the traditional Christmas colors as the focal of it, which I think is kind of neat. All right. So see, I've got all those nice strips. I think that's actually kind of pretty. Okay. Set this over to the side. I've got to move my napkin so I don't get paint all over it. And there's that one. I kind of like the way that one came out too. Okay, so now I'm going to let those dry for a minute, clean up this mess, and then I will come back and I'll move on to the next step. Okay, so my 2 pieces are dry, and I can't remember which, I think it was this one that started out this size. This one I cut down a bit. My tag is supposed to be 3 by 6. Mine will probably be about 3 1/4 by 6 1/2, but I cut it down not to that size, but just a bit so I would have some room to work. So now what I'm doing is I'm using my Tim Holtz Stampers Anonymous Christmas Classic, and I'm using this stamp that has the pine tree with a couple of, what do you call them? Pine cones on them. Wow. And I'm just going to stamp, and I'm using potting soil, archival ink to stamp on these, and I've just got them on a book to help soften the background a little bit, to help me get a better impression. And this is just going to be a background stamp, which is why I'm not using black. I went with the brown instead of the black because I don't want the harshness of the black. So So while I'm doing a little stamping, I'll tell you a little bit about what I've got coming up. My daughter was here visiting shortly after I got back from Florida, and she and I have been talking for a little bit about doing sort of a junk journal challenge amongst ourselves or between ourselves, just because we have such different styles that we thought it would be fun to see what we each came up with given the same general guidelines. So after we did some talking and stuff, what we've decided to do is I'm going to be opening up a Facebook group. Alyssa and I will be doing the challenge in November. And so thought it might be fun to go ahead and open up a Facebook group. That way, if anybody wanted to join us, they could. And it's going to be a very simple challenge because we want our idea. The more we started talking, the more excited we got. What we want is we want to make a challenge, but we want it to be a creative challenge. Meaning, it doesn't need to have a whole bunch of rules, make this or that, make 12 pockets using only these things. We want it to be more of a, for lack of a better word, a creative challenge, I suppose, where we come up with perhaps a theme for the month, and it could be broad, it could be a little more narrow, and then you interpret it. The one we will be doing for our first challenge, somewhere I have it written down, is... I can't remember what we decided to call it. And apparently that part I didn't write down. Or I did, but not on the same sheet of paper. But this is not what we're going to do for our first one. But it's the example I keep using when I started tossing the idea around. Excuse me, I need to take a drink real quick. Well, actually, I won't tell you the made-up one. I'll tell you the first one we're going to do is drinks that warm you. So we're going into colder weather, and so it could be coffee, it could be hot tea, it could be apple cider, it could be mulled wine, it could be any kind of drink that warms you or that makes you feel warm. But then take it, let's say you chose to do apple cider, for example. You may not have a picture of apple cider in your journal at all, but you may have apples, you may have the idea of apple cider, or the colors. Completely up to your imagination and creativity. And sorry, I was going to grab something, well, that way I could talk and work. Sorry, I'm going to be passing a box in front of you. So that's what I'm working on getting done, and I'm hoping to have a challenge monthly. Some months will be very simple. Another thing we talked about doing was having a challenge where we just find something on YouTube or Pinterest or wherever you find stuff that is something you've never done before, and share that with us. You know, it's sort of a learn one, do one, teach one. So you learn something new, whether it's a new pocket or a new whatever it is, and make it and then share it with us, letting us know, showing us what you made, but also sharing with us where you learned it so that we can also make the same type thing. So, I don't know. Okay, what I'm using here is Lindy's Moonshadow Mist, and this is Ethereal Emerald. Now, the Moonshadow Mist is all sepia based. So, I'm just going to do a little bit of spraying on here just to give it a little bit of shimmer and a little bit of green. And all right. Some of those are pretty big drops. I'll have to wipe them up. Okay, so now that needs to dry, and I probably will use my heat tool, but I'll do that off camera. So anyway, that's what I'm going to be working on, and I'll be giving you more details within the next week or so. We're really excited to do this, and like I said, it all started because she and I wanted to do a challenge between ourselves, but then we thought, you know, why not invite everyone to join us? Might be kind of fun. So anyway, okay, so I'm going to pause the video, and I'm gonna let that one move a bit, thin that out a little bit. And then as soon as I've got this dry, I will come back and go on to the next step. Okay, so I'm back. My papers are dry, dryish at least. And you can see that when I used that Moonshadow Mist, the sepia in it really did push back the stamping, especially on that one. Not as much on this one because this one had more what looks like grungy spilling on it, but I actually like that. But I don't know if you will be able to see it as I turn it, but it actually does give it a shimmer, and the shimmer on it is that emerald color, so it really is kind of a neat effect. Okay, so now what I've got is I've got my watered down Mod Podge and my napkins that I've cut out and my brush. So and of course you've seen probably me and a gazillion other people do this over and over. But I'm going to put my Mod Podge down. Kind of wish I'd poured some into a smaller cup so I could see it. Okay. Oh, and I did go ahead and cut my sheets down to 3 1/4 by 6 1/2. And it's not going to be quite wide enough, whoops, to get everything. but need that to be a little higher. I'm just going to let it hang off the edge for now. And you'll see I'm getting a little bit of the sepia over where I'd done that spray. I'm getting a little bit of that sepia over my paper, so it's not waterproof, and I didn't even think about that, so I'm not concerned about it. I may end up wanting to spray it again after the fact, which is fine, because truth be told, I'm probably going to lose a lot of it with the matteness of the Mod Podge. So okay, and then I'm going to put my sentiment, not right there, not just like that. I want it to, okay, careful, Marcy, careful. Come on. Alright. Well, I kind of botched that one. Probably should have put my bird up higher. Okay, so I'm going to do that with both of my napkins, and then once that's dry, I can move on. I can cut my tag shape out. I can add other embellishments to it. And I just let that one tear. All right, so I must be more cautious. I can't do that again. Yeah, that one may have to... In fact, I'm going to pull the sentiment off this one, because I really botched that up badly. And this tag, I'll see if I do better with the other one, but that tag at least is going to have a different sentiment on it, because I really botched that one. So I think here what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start at the bottom with the sentiment. Try to get it placed. There we go. And then I will move up and do the partridge. Let's see if that works better. That I think will be a little better. All right. Then I'm just going to leave this to dry, and you'll see I've got what looks like copious amounts of glue, but to keep from risking tearing my bird, I'll wipe a little bit of it up, but then I'll let it dry, and then I will go back and very finely run some very fine grit sandpaper over it to help clean that up a bit. So that's all I'm going to do for this video. I will try to come back and show you the finished tags at some point, but I don't want to show the whole finished tags since these are going to be for a swap. I just wanted to come on and do a little fun crafting with you, and so that's it for now, and until next time, I wish you all a wonderfully happy crafty day, and I will see you all very soon. Bye-bye.